Welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast, back with the three goblins once again. We have Glizzy,
That's us.
Goblin, and Gamer, all three different versions of ourselves here. And
I'm the
today,
goblin.
we're talking about a whole lot of different things. We are talking about our moral dilemmas when we play survival games. We talk about the Helldivers situation getting resolved. Bullying corporations, turns it out, it does work. We talk about a couple of other different things. We talk a little bit about the how Mr. Fruit felt about the Kendrick and Drake beef after doing some research on his own.
Yeah, learning some things.
Mr. Fruit doesn't talk about how much he loves Crowagunk, but he is showing off how much he loves Crowagunk right now for audio listeners who can't see.
Who wouldn't?
Talk about a whole lot of other things. You guys can feel free to tell me if there's any important topics I missed, but for the most part, we just kind of vibe and do what we always do. So,
Yes, sir.
if you like that, if
You
you want
know
to hear
how
more
it
of that,
is.
then stick around.
This episode of the GG Over Easy podcast is sponsored by our GG Over Easy legends, Green Pete, One Lax, Fields, Halcyonics, and Hoth. If you guys want to go extra and beyond the support of just watching the podcast, please think about subscribing to our Patreon. It helps out a ton. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's the whole new movement towards better habits led by today's sponsor, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume's cores are closer to verbal teas. Fume has a lot of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. Orange vanilla is my absolute favorite. It literally tastes like I'm drinking like a creamsicle. No vapor, so you can use it anywhere. There's no nicotine, non-toxic flavors, no batteries, and it looks awesome. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, and Fume is backed by doctors in the United States. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be its next success story. For a limited time, use our code GG to get free gift with your journey pack. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use code GG. Sky's out, which means thighs are out. Summer is right around the corner, and our friends at Chubby's are bringing the good vibrations. Chubby's makes clothes that make every moment feel like a vacation. They say fashion is an expression of one character, so why not let the world know that you're down for a good time? They sent me the nicest polo and these shorts that are so comfortable. They're a little high-rising, but they look fantastic. So my thighs are completely out this summer, thanks to Chubby's. The elastic waistband is so nice. It's not suffocating me. Chubby's offers a variety of high-quality everyday men's apparel. For the most comfortable shorts you'll wear all summer to swim trunks, pants, polos, and even button-down shirts that'll have grandma praising how clean you are. Embrace the spirit of an endless summer with Chubby's, the ultimate destination for bold, vibrant, and outrageous comfortable clothing. For a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our exclusive code when you use code GG at chubbyshorts.com. Whether you're getting dressed for a workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubby's has you covered. For a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners 20% off your order with the code GG at chubbyshorts.com. That's code GG at chubbyshorts.com. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubby's.
Hi, ho everyone. My name is Mr. Fruit, and welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 228. Maybe.
7.
Just threw that one out there. 7. I don't know. It's close enough.
Very
I was
close.
debating not even trying, but you know what? There's a life lesson.
You gave
for
it
kids.
your Scout's best.
Sometimes it's better to try than to not try at all. Lesson
Words
to
to
be learned
live
there.
by.
This reminds me, teach your kids the important lessons. I was just talking about Rob.
Don't be like
My younger
Drizzy.
brothers. What?
Nothing. Don't worry about it, man.
No, not about kids, but not that kind of kids. Like, my younger brother's due date, which is always weird, I guess.
You actually are an unk.
I will be.
You're going to be
Dude.
an actual unk.
Don't even fuck me up with that.
Unk status.
Weird.
Oh,
And what's even weirder is he's the youngest of 5 boys. I'm the second youngest. First one to have kids. We got somebody. My oldest is pushing. I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast. I'm doing dirty. Probably gonna do him dirty. 38, 37, 38.
Damn. Sorry.
Sorry, Eric.
Old.
Sorry, Eric. I hope.
No, and then yeah, everyone's disseminating that, and somehow, wouldn't you know it? And I think what's funny too is even growing up, we're like Ethan's gonna be the first to have kids. We just knew it, and look at him now.
Well,
Weird to think.
congratulations to Ethan.
Yeah, congratulations to him and his wife. It's bizarre to think about because I'm thinking like, man, if I had a kid coming in a month, like Claire and I'd be freaking out, man.
Yeah,
which is obviously why we don't.
Yeah, same.
Responsible decision to not have kids currently. Weird life we're living
expensive, just really expensive.
All's expensive and stressful.
That's where like my mind goes first. It's not even that like, would I be a good parent? Like I know like me and Sydney would be great parents. It's like that's just expensive, and like I like napping whenever I want. I like going to the movies spontaneously.
Also, like, do I feel comfortable bringing a kid into the world we're in right now? Like
that as well. Like
that's like one of Claire's biggest things is like, like my outlook for the world right now is so depressing. Why would I want to bring a kid into this? Now, granted, we need the hopeful people and people like my brother, because otherwise, guess what? The human race would cease to exist.
Birth rates are like down, like pretty much everywhere, right? Like
mega. I'm gonna throw a statistic out of my butt, because I think I heard this a couple weeks ago in passing. It's something like I think birth rate for new generation are like 35 below. Again, making stuff up, but this is like a rough ballpark. I think it's down to like 29% compared to like 60% 2 generations ago or something.
I mean, that doesn't shock me.
It's all these video games.
Out of my butt.
These virgins, that's what I'm saying, like you learn, like touch some grass and get some ass. Like what we doing?
Statistics show the more you listen to a podcast, the less you are to have kids. So I got bad news for you guys. It's the best sort of.
I did see like a funny thing about like singles. I guess Bumble's CEO was basically saying like the future looks like people have an AI that dedicated to them, and then they have their AIs go on like a pseudo date and learn if they would be compatible, and then they actually go out on a date.
That's interesting.
And it was like a quote tweet, and it was basically like, being married and in a relationship right now must feel like how the person did who had work on 9/11 who like ended up not going to work that day. Like that's what a relationship.
I mean, that's what I think about is like, thank God I met Claire when I did, and we made it work, and I found the love of my life, because like thinking about even dating now and then in the future, it looks like it's gonna be even like I can't imagine like. Heart goes out to all you ladies and men out there that are in this dating world. It definitely seems tricky to navigate.
It just seems like very superficial. Like I hear stories from my little brother, and a lot of the time it's, what do you do? How much do you make? And I'm not saying like, it could definitely be the other way around too with men to women. But he's just saying it's just very superficial, and it's like, how much do you make? What do you do? What do you, and that it's not even like the person you are or anything.
It's very object focused, which is why it's just so demoralizing. Because I've watched so many videos on like, just general like really like analytical things, like why is our generation so fucking lonely? And it always just comes down to we've been essentially force fed and bred to think and only focus on, well, what do you have? And what can you offer me from a non-emotional standpoint, not from a human standpoint, but from a how are we gonna feed our kids? How's our retirement gonna look? And you have, I mean, that's also why we have so many crazy stories of fucking spouses murdering their like each other, because it's like, damn, why am I so miserable? Well, guess I'll kill this chick. And it's like, man, I was miserable because everything
Sydney is very capable of killing me as well.
Well, that too. Like, hey, the
just got me on my most vulnerable.
Go Casey Anthony on my ass.
Hey, the murder girls, the murder mommies are also a real thing too. So it's like everyone's so focused on numbers, and the human aspect gets so lost. It's also really hard for us as humans to quantify like who a person is by or even like by statistics in general, like when you start being like 16 people, 20 people, like we as humans are extremely bad at like
And that's why we should have AIs date each other.
real.
Weird, like, and
You
then
get it,
find out if
Rob.
we're compatible.
So when you see
exactly.
like, so when you see like people's numbers on a dating app, it's like you don't even. For some people, that's all it is. That's all it takes. Just,
Bro, I
damn.
remember when my stepmom and my dad met in like 2000. I was in 5th grade, so that's like 2005. They had met on like a dating website, and I remember back then that was like such a foreign thing, and like nowadays that's pretty much like
Standard, basically.
the only way you can like really meet people these days. So if you're out there and you're single, don't be afraid. Don't resort to just thinking about those apps. Go do something fun. Like go do things that you enjoy, and you may run into somebody else that enjoys those things as well. Sorry, love advice from me. Might as well be taking. That's like salt and a slug. A salt salesman slug.
Um,
Bolt meets
there was
slug.
there was this TED Talk video that came out a couple days ago. It went like viral. There's a guy talking about difference in like why the young generations like ours and below. Although technically, I think we're like literally the last year for a millennial or something.
Yeah,
so
we're
like,
we're right on that gap. We're right on the line.
So we're somewhere in between there. So we're
Gen
definitely
Zs
like the
are old.
youngest.
That's crazy to
millennials. Think.
Yeah. Gen Zs are like
but,
late 20s now, dude.
All these people coming out into adulthood right now, why they're struggling so much, and just showing like the transfer of wealth essentially since the past like 20, 30 years.
Thanks,
from
Reagan.
young to old. One big part of it too was also the 2008 getting the banks
Financial
out of it.
crisis.
Yeah, bailing out the banks, and then how that all hurt, and then home ownership and all that kind of
Thanks,
stuff.
Steve
And it's
Carell.
just like, well, the overarching thing too is like not even just like analytically, but you see all this and people feel it, and then it's just like this is what it looks like when there's no hope. No one has anything to hope for anymore because like it all
True.
seems
Pretty bleak.
so unobtainable and impossible. Yeah.
I mean, the American dream has been unattainable for so long, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. He talked about the American dream too, where it's like this year, some people made the American dream come true, but they are the percentage now of those people are so drastically like, yeah, but it's the very few you hear about, and everyone else is struggling way more than it used to be about like,
What's the
anyone can
American
make
dream
it.
to you guys? Like owning a home and having a stable career? Like, is that like what you would consider the American dream?
I think being able to, I guess not always, but do what you like or to do what you want to do and create sustainable living. I think
Okay.
for some people it's like to make it rich and be huge, but I think part of it is just being able to uh live a
Say,
more
hey,
free, flexible life with
that was my thing. All I ever wanted in life was to be middle income and enjoy what I love to do. I never had to be like super like omega rich. Like, sure, that'd be great. I love watching VH1 and watching the Tales of the Rich or whatever it was, and me watching through the bars like, whoa, like
Claire's been watching this show. I forget what it's on, but it follows this crew that runs like these giant private yachts and rents
Mhm.
it out to rich people who just like take it out for like they like rent it for 4 or 5 days or like a
Yeah.
week, and it's like below deck or whatever. Yeah, I think it's actually something like that. But it's like it can be like $40,000 to $50,000 to charter without tips. Then you give all the people tips and everything. It's just like a 3 or 4 day thing for some people.
Because like
They're
the
just like,
staff like live on the ship as well, right?
Yep.
Like
I don't know the specifics. She just tells me all the drama and their weird accents.
he tells me
But it's like
all
something
the
like
weird
that where
drama.
like some of them like that's just something like a fun. And there's a lot of repeat people too who do this like s- all the
Yeah.
time.
yeah, that's like
Keep coming back.
that's their livelihood. Like that's what they.
It's just like, I don't know, I'm bored. Let's go throw 50,000 at a yacht for 3 days. That's crazy. There's like that kind of wealth, which is just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the TED Talk, that's also what it talked about. A problem too, like an educational level as well with colleges. The amount of money they've made has increased, but not in comparison to the amount of people they're letting in. and the people they're letting in aren't the same. Where he's talking about like college should be trying to get the 90% into the 10% rather than right now where it's like keep the 10% or help the 10% become the 1%. And it was really interesting going through it all. Because he was also talking about like, this is my generation. I'm benefiting, but like this needs to stop. Point is, I mean, something's eventually going to change. But yeah, the world is in a crazy spot.
Food's so expensive, man. When people were like, "What's the American dream?" I was like, "I just want to, I just want
Oh,
to be able to live. I just want to have a job that
okay.
will be able to pay for shelter and food without me stressing about like like my shelter and food always being in danger of, like being poof up
Inflation,
in the air real quick."
I have a question for you
right?
guys. Okay. What would you estimate? Say you have no food in your fridge. Like, okay, like we are bare bones right now. And you go to Costco and you say, I'm going to fill up our freezer and our fridge. Just get what you want from Costco, throw it in there. Okay. That is what Sydney and I did last weekend. Because we're trying to eat at the house more and cook more and do those sorts of things. How much would you guess a full run to Costco cost in 2024?
For a week for two people, it's probably upwards of like 400.
I guess it depends on how much you're stocking. I don't
Yeah,
know what like
if you're
I'm talking like
expediency
we're putting
means.
everything in the freezer, like get everything in the freezer, get food in the fridge,
yeah, if we're
get
talking like
drinks.
like if we're talking like
Yeah, like
You're
how
you're
setting yourself
bulking,
up.
you
we're
probably
talking like
spent like
weeks or a month at
you
a time.
probably
I'm
spent
talking like
like
maybe 2 to 3 weeks
you probably
of
spent
food.
like $600.
Yeah, I'd say 500 to 600.
So I mean maybe it wasn't 2 weeks I guess, but it was $380
It's not, I mean,
for
honestly,
to fill a whole
Costco
like
wise,
fridge, and
that's
it
pretty
was.
good for Costco. Like,
But
I
I
mean,
mean
also,
it.
Costco's
when
also
Rob only eats
so
one meal a day, that's pretty
Yeah,
expensive.
you gotta remember. There's
I
20. I mean we made pierogies and mac and cheese last night. Pretty
yes.
fire.
I mean,
Pretty
Why not?
good.
Costco is my go right now. I can, bro. The Kirkland Costco pizzas, you get that shit so cheap.
Well, Sydney and I
The
have
four
this new
pack, whew.
tech that we've learned about Costco. When we do go to
Oh,
Costco, our Costco closes at 8:30. We go at 7:30 because then it's kind of dying down. But we don't go immediately shopping. We go to the food court and eat first, and then let everybody else trickle out of there. Finish our food around like 7:45. We got 45 minutes to shop, and then we just do that because
you
it's
got
like
the
not as
tech.
busy.
That's
Yeah,
honestly
that's
not. Yeah, that's not
new
bad tech.
tech.
Not bad tech.
We
Because like you
went.
do it, like you eat there as like dinner and stuff, and it's like a chicken bake is the greatest thing ever.
Plus, yeah,
Except
Costco.
you
Whew,
kind of get sick of a chicken bake. You get to like the last third of a chicken bake, and you're like, this is
I
kind of
wish I could
gross.
say that. I fuck up a chicken bake start to
Really?
finish,
I get
dude.
like a third. Oh, every time I get to a third of the way down, and I'm like, this is kind of
Call
disgusting.
me
Like,
Glizzy
why?
Guillermo the way I be eating that chicken bake.
I know. Claire's been trying to cook dinners and stuff for us at the very least. They usually do like factors for lunch, and even just like 3 different meals. Because in the soup, like the 3 different meals for both of us, we usually have leftovers, so that's 6 days of food. Go for groceries. We even have stuff at home. I go out to get it, and it's still like it can be like $100 to $150. Technically, 3 meals for 2 people,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Well,
what
and
in the
then you're like,
world?
oh well, I'll just go get fast food. I used to be able to get a 2 spicy McChickens, 2 McDoubles, and a large fry for
It'll be
six
$32
dollars.
without
Yeah,
tax.
like it's crazy. Like, why are we like doing this? Like, let me just get what I used to get for McDonald's for $7 and let me be on my fucking way.
I did go to Chick-fil-A the other day though, and Jake gave me a free meal. Shout out Jake.
Damn, Jake, damn.
Well, he's a
He's your
fan. He was a
homie. I'm
fan.
going there
Yeah.
too. Jake, you like the Dream
Uh,
Team videos, right? Like, this is a
I don't
three-way
think he
thing, right?
watches anymore, but
Ah.
But
no,
he did
he
watch, and that's all that matters.
he did. He said this is for all the memories. I said thanks, man. Um, definitely. I don't know. It's so weird running the fans because for the most part, you can tell the impact, and it really was like it's still always like Destiny Dream Team, Destiny Dream Team. But man, that's definitely when we were like back in the day, a fraction of like Jinxie Rainbow Six Siege right now.
I didn't like
We
it's
had it
really
like that for a little while.
but
We
like
did.
I always think about it like we were always just a little too early before like the crazy like viralness kind of came from it
I
too,
mean,
because
we
it was
were
still
like,
kind of niche like gaming thing. Now it's like super in course in media and everything like
I mean,
that.
we
Like
definitely, that was the closest we ever had to having like actual, like, you know, impact on like a, from like a big, like, greater YouTube, like, I guess, like, you know, stratosphere, the YouTube sphere. But, I would say we, back then, are still pretty indicative of what I would say, like, most creators are, because like those huge big ones, like you know, you're talking about like the XQCs,
yeah,
the Ludwigs, the
the sketch now.
yeah, like those are like 1% of 1% of 1%. You know what I mean? Like they are.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what.
But there's so many like there's so many great creators that are doing, you know, like it's crazy to think like great creators that are like doing like 500,000, you know, like the 100,000 to 500,000 club. There's so many creators doing that, but like they don't have like the
I used to be in that club.
that's. But I mean, there's even more, you know, with like, you know, between the 10 to 100,000 club, and there's so many people,
So many people now.
so many people doing that. It's just like those people. There's so many niche creators that like fit exactly what like people want to watch, and like the grander scheme, like the big ass creators are super rare. And yeah, like Rob said, like the, you know, that was right before like the virality of the internet was
Just the integration
ridiculous.
of just like content creators and just like
yeah, content creators
everyday
being
things.
celebrities, like
yeah,
which I mean,
you know what I mean?
the, you know, the term of celebrity has been watered down so hard. So, but you know, celebrity in the modern sense, right? Like the where everyone's a micro celebrity essentially, right? So,
The difference
it's
too
different.
is like some of the people popping up now also don't so much pop off from YouTube. Like for instance, I think like Jinxie and Sketch and stuff, I think was like TikTok
Yeah,
that eventually went viral, and then that traffic or whatever moved, and then it went to either, you know, like their live streams or YouTube or whatever. Um, but the game's just different, and that's what I was thinking about. You mentioned like XQC, and you can think of like some of the bigger ones like Tim the Tatman or Doc or all the ones that are still big today. And you think about they all happened, or like Tfue, all those people. They had a game that started them, Ninja. You know, there's Overwatch and then Fortnite and stuff, and there hasn't been anything really in the past couple years that has had that effect to
yeah,
like,
where like a game launches someone's career.
Yeah. The last
we
was like
haven't had that
Fortnite,
in,
really.
in
We
a
have
while.
that. The reality is that we do have that all the time. It's just they don't go to. Yeah, they don't become like the one
Yeah.
percenters ever, because I mean the reality is like all the people blowing up are, it's all React, right? Like it's all reacting to this, reacting to that, like Moist
Thanks,
Critical,
Mr. Morale,
Moist
for
Critical,
not
all
claiming
React.
music.
And thank you, Kendrick. That's my go. Everyone's like Drake did it too. It's like, yeah, but Kendrick did it first, so eat shit, Glizzy Goblins. Yeah, it's all React content now, right? Like everyone wants to see what people think of something. So
All right, I said I'd never do it. My React arc starts now. Let's get it. Let's I'll start with my beef on this rap stuff. I got some.
Hey, well, hey,
Very
when I sent you in
important
Naruto terms, you did understand.
Yeah, I was
with
like, I get it
Naruto
now.
terms.
did you
I was
end
like,
up
wait a second.
listening to the diss tracks?
I listened to you're not gonna you like what I have to say, but
Family
I listened
Matters.
to what's the like 6 minute
And they're all like
Meet the
6
Grams?
minutes.
Yeah, I think it
616
was,
in LA?
I think it might have been Meet the Grams. It was right after we
It's a
did that. I
scary
listened
One of
to
the
that
greatest
and
diss tracks of all time.
yeah, okay, so I want to touch on two things. I listened to Meet the Grams and then 616 in LA. Meet the Grams. Scariest beat, don't get it. I was listening,
What?
I was like,
Spooky ass beat, bro.
yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
sitting there like,
it's like Dancing with the Devil, Mortal Technique. It's just like, ooh, like this spooky.
Dude, that's like
yes,
Godzilla
I
about
listened
to
to that and
enter
I'm
the
like,
fight, bro.
you guys, you hear something else, and I love that for you guys. So I listened to that, and I listened to 616, and that was it. And I'm like, yep, this.
616 in
just keep
LA
getting my
doesn't really
news
do
somewhere
it for me.
else. Yeah, this doesn't really.
Like people love 616 in LA because they don't understand it and they can go like, oh, the red drapes really mean that he's out for murder, and the red drapes also correspond with how Drake used to say drape instead of Drake, and it's like, what is going like what like
I mean,
I hate that.
here's the gist. I listen and I still go, all right. I still just don't really like rap or hip hop.
Well, just
I'm sure
imagine
they're
if
great, but
like if Frank and Skip Bap Boobity Bop had a beef, you know?
like
And
Frank and Dean.
Did you hear what Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra said about fucking James
Dean Martin.
I just did your mom. Wouldn't you know about
You're
this shit?
stinky, and I bet you don't fuck.
You're not a gentleman.
You live on the east side of town.
You only beat your wife twice a week, and I do it 4 times.
That's what I after
Not
we did the
laughing
podcast, I told Claire about like what we talked about, whatever, like the beef stuff. She's like, I don't get it. So I was like, I just regurgitated essentially.
Yeah.
She was the same thing too. It's like, why don't they go to the police?
Which is so funny because you guys are like, these are
we ain't
pretty,
snitches.
you're like, these are pretty serious
She's
claims.
like-
Is no one gonna go to the
yeah, she's
authorities?
like,
And I was like, ah, Mr.
They
Fruit,
approve?
you're so pure, my friend. Well,
There
especially
was,
when it
like, a
comes
shooting
to
in front of Drizzy's house. Like someone did get shot in front of Drake's
did hear
crib,
about that.
apparently.
I didn't know about that.
This beef has gone too far. I have called a truce.
freaky ass
OVO
dudes,
Rob
freaky
has
ass
called
dudes
a
stay their ass
truce.
inside. That's what I mean, you know.
Breaking news: OVO Rob has said enough.
You're really gonna
Call
OVO Rob?
it.
Rob.
Yeah. What?
Come on, my boy. You can't be saying.
Bro, we're not
OVO
pedos.
Rob.
That's just Mr. Morale being stupid. We're not like that. We're
Bird,
too famous for that.
bird man, and bird bitches.
It's
I understood
OVO
all that.
Rob. All right, don't get it
Say
twisted.
OVO.
I'm over here like sorry.
Did you see that they were showing?
Poppin',
You see that they were playing it on the. I forgot which game it was. It was an NBA game.
Yeah.
Like right before the commercial. It was probably like
Yeah,
Drake.
they do,
Drake's
like-
just probably trying to watch the game. And he's just like, "Fuck!
He's sitting there with the US
Fucking
ass face,
Kung
like-
Fu Kenny, you son of a bitch!"
Yeah. Too funny though.
Ah, so funny, dude.
I'm glad that you learned about the beef.
I'm glad
Good.
that you
At least
tried.
Pass your
got
wisdom on.
context now.
I'm glad you
Right.
tried. Like
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah, I
Well-
listened to some songs and then I was just like, I prefer the TLDR.
Well, see, and then I sent you that Naruto thing, and that basically explained it all for you.
Yeah.
So he just
And
sends 2 rocks from the sky, and the old man can't really do anything about
Yeah.
it. That's what I was trying to
Oh,
like.
you
learn
showed
from-
him the fucking Madara, the.
Yeah, they're like, we finally did it. He's like, yeah, but what about 2? And they're like,
Yeah, yeah, and then like Meet the Gram starts playing.
And I was like, I get it now.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is pretty much
yeah.
it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
I
it
felt
to a
like,
T, actually.
I felt like Joey when he didn't understand football until Datto explained it in like
Wizard terms.
wizard terms. Yeah, and he's like, oh, so they have this magic ball, and then
Yeah, and then you regenerate your mana. Every time you get past this line, your mana is regenerated.
oh my god, why doesn't everyone explain football like that?
I listened to that though. I was like, it's pretty good though. Like, yeah, he's not.
Oh, yeah,
he's
he was
spitting.
cooking.
Yeah, he was spitting.
In fact, I had Datto hop in my chat yesterday. Nice little segue
Oh.
here. Because I was playing V Rising, been grinding it, and he goes, "Oh, great, another open world survival craft
I feel so bad
RPG."
because every single time we gas up a game lately, it's
Yeah.
just like,
Or Datto.
poor dude's just like, nope, can't do it.
He's like,
Datto just
I
hates
wish.
that shit.
He does. It
He
was
really
first
does.
Power World.
He really does.
He was never in a Minecraft. There was, what was the other one aside from Power World that was around that time? I
Beyond
thought.
Human or whatever.
Oh,
What's it?
there's
Uh,
Beyond Human. There's Enshrouded.
Enshrouded, yep. That was another one that he was like, oh, what is it? Survival.
He was never in a Rust.
Poor dude.
Um,
I'm deep in back, guys. You guys fucked me up so bad.
yeah, I see you in Zentaras.
so I've been grinding V Rising. Yeah, he just comes in there because I guess during his stream, Glad was in there telling him about it too. He's just like, ah, god. And I get it. I mean, it's the same way, sort of like that, like with like hip hop music. Somebody can be like, "Yo, this is sick," and I listen. It's just like, I wish this resonated. I wish I liked this. I don't know why. Or like a genre of game for me, like scary games. Like this is so sick. It's so different, and I'm like, it's really
Is it?
not. Although I will say, like, content warning and one
Well, we just
Lethal
I
Company.
was just that's it.
Lethal
I
Company,
was
yeah.
like,
Those were like the exceptions. I mean, it's become a very clear pattern for me. It has to be like multiplayer and a focus on like the funny, goofy
funny, like
aspect.
yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, because even when we were first playing Lethal Company, the moment I got separated, everyone was dead. I'm alone in the dark,
And now you're just playing
like
a solo
room.
horror
Yeah,
game.
and I'm like, I remember I'm like, I'm not having fun anymore, guys. This isn't fun. I'm not having.
I
Help
wanna
me.
go home, guys.
Yeah. And then with my friends, I'm like, okay, it's fine. But I get it. But yeah, Joey and I have been grinding Verizon 1.0 came out Wednesday, May 8th. That's at the time of recording this, like 2 days ago. I played early access. It released almost 2 years ago to the day. I think it was
I
June
was gonna say, I felt
2022.
like we played this forever ago.
Yeah, that's when early access came out. Put like $100 into it when it came out. And I was like, this is sick. I'll come back for 1.0. Before 1.0, they did like one big DLC or like update with like a whole new region and all that kind of other stuff. And then they had other updates, but I was like, save myself for 1.0. And I'm glad it did. We're back in the trenches. I'm back in Degen hours. Although I gotta say, man, I don't got it like I used to.
What
I
do you
told
mean?
Claire after the first day I grinded for like 11, maybe 12 hours. And you would have thought like I'd been up for 48 hours. I'm like, it was like 8 o'clock. It'd been 12 hours. I'm like, I gotta call it. I
See, but
can't.
like, let me
I'm
and then
enjoying it.
okay, let
I
me play
got
devil's advocate. Okay, what if the game is just not that fun to the point where
no,
you
it's fun.
can't?
That's not the problem. I know for like 6 years ago, I'm pulling all nighter, you know? But now,
What about
like
like
my
New World?
body, it's more like my
New World,
body
you
hurts.
New
could.
World was like the last hurrah for him. I think he even
It
talked
really
about
was.
this. He was like, that was
This is
awesome.
it.
I'm never going to do that again. I cannot do that. And I get it.
That's what I compare it to it. That's like when I realized
Because like what you were
it's
averaging like
changed.
19-hour play sessions almost. Like
It was bad. Yeah. I don't think it was quite 19. It was like 16 though. 16.
that first
'Cause it
week,
was
I
like
feel like
sleep, cardio, new world. Sleep, cardio, new world. Yeah, and then I think part of it too is maybe that's it. Like I might have had a little left in me and I just killed it off with New World. I like I burnt it. I burnt the wick. There was nothing left. Maybe I could have salvaged some, but I'm talking like, after the 12 hours of E-Rising, like my mentally I hurt. Physically I hurt. Where it's like and then I get rest and I'm not rested. Like I really am hitting that phase of like I'm getting old. Not in the
yeah.
same way of like, oh, I'm 50, but like I just can't game like I did. Uh Now with that said, yeah, no, it's like I wanted to play more or like I'm still thinking about it or something, but like I just literally had to step away. Um it's tough realizing that, which is
I think
also
I
why
saw
like
Joey on for like 16 or 17 hours or something like that one of the days.
that the first day I got off after 12 hours, Joey kept going for a couple hours. We reversed roles. Yesterday he got off, I stayed on for a couple more hours. Um so I still like kind of got that dog in me, but also it's like looking at the track record as the years go by and as the games I grind go, I'm noticing a trend. We're getting to a point, and so I'm worried. Obviously, this is what I should worry about in 10 years when the League MMO comes out. Will I still have it in me? Do I gotta like prepare? Do I gotta train to like?
I
Yeah.
know I still got it in
grind for
me.
1 second?
I know I will always have it in me. The issue is the number of games that will bring that dog out of me will get
Yeah,
smaller and
like
smaller.
I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like I can if I like really am truly having fun the whole time and like can play and like
Yeah,
enjoy the
easy.
what I'm doing.
I know I could do it.
But like Blue said, it's the game that has to like bring that part out of me, which is very hard to do
Yeah, I'm not giving that
these
shit out
days.
for free, Like it's got you
Oh,
got to make a banger.
Like specifically like multiplayer game. Like I could never probably play a battle royale or like an arena shooter like Halo like I did back in the day. Like that'll never come back. Like it's only really probably like a survival MMO type games that can bring that out of me. Like I can't just do arena shooter or like battle royale for 18
I
hours
need.
like I could when I was like 15.
I was gonna say. I think that's exactly it. Because like with the survival ones, like MMOs, you get those grind because there's the seemingly for a while until you like finish the game, a never-ending carrot on the stick of like,
Mhm.
oh, this next thing. You always have a goal. You're always progressing. You always got something. And I'm in the same boat where like, multiplayer shooters, arena shooters. Now I hop on, I get a good couple hours maybe, and then it's like that was fun, but also I don't know. I'm good for now. Even like the finals, I was really enjoying grinding the finals. And
Yeah.
after like 4 hours, really enjoying the game, I'm still just like, I'm
See, that one
gonna
never
take a
like
break.
caught me. That was the one where like I could play for a couple hours, but then like you guys would still like feeling that high, and I was like, yeah, I could like do something else now, I guess. Like,
It's just a different world we live in, gaming wise. But
but I still would
that's
play Halo
why
2 every day of my life if it was here. So let's just say that.
somebody made a good point though. Also, probably why I enjoy the game so much is like from a gameplay perspective, this is very similar to what uh I'd like the League MMO to be, and it's true. The the best part about this, and I've heard from some people, even Claire watches Day 9, who's like a completely different streamer and stuff. And he talked about he enjoys V Rising and has to give it to it because it's like the best combat for a survival game. Because a lot of
Ooh.
like open world survival games, um, combat is usually like something added
Hit.
later, or like,
Like
yeah, it's like it can be good, but like,
roll.
yeah, there's so many different systems. But to their credit, Stunlock Studios, they've done so many games before this, like with Battle Right, Battle Royale, and all that sort of stuff, and all their track history that those essentially serve to just hone in the gameplay. They already had that core, and then they built out with V Rising, so
They
they
already
already
have that
had
dog
that.
in them.
Yeah, and so for me, I mean, that's why I love it. And I mean, I talk about it for everything. Pretty much, I'm a gameplay first kind of person. You can have everything else, but if the gameplay doesn't scratch that itch for me, I'm out. V Rising, oh, the gameplay scratched the itch,
I'm
but then
gonna
everything else is a bonus.
I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. Did Hades 2 give you that scratch? Because I know that
Yeah,
that got
so
announced.
that got surprise dropped Monday, May 6th, I believe, into early access. And I was like, "Ah, sheesh," because I knew I was gonna be grinding V Rising, and I am. So I was like, at the very least, I'm taking like Tuesday off. I gotta get every because like I might be going DJing. I gotta prepare now.
Yeah.
I need to take a day off. So then it dropped Monday, and I was gonna like not go as hard. I was just gonna get what I needed to get done, and I was like, "Ah, Jesus." So then I streamed Hades 2 for 8 hours. Um, Great game. I think what was so surprising about Hades 2 because I played Hades when it first entered early access on Epic Games Launcher when they first announced it, and it wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, and the early access had the first world and the first boss, which was like the skeleton snake that was like pretty bare bones. There's almost like no meta progression. I think there was one weapon, not much
Pretty
stuff,
far
and I
off
was
from what
like,
the base game had. Like it was a
yeah,
very small
it
taste.
was very early access, and I was like, ooh, this is cool. And so then they announced Hades 2 early access, and so I'm thinking, "Oh, well, I remember what Hades 1 was, so I'm not expecting much." I'm like, "I wanna see what they've been cooking, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
play." Well, consider me surprised when Hades 2 early access has more content than the full release of Hades 1, and that's when
Jeez,
I'm
that's
like,
sick though.
"Yeah, it is sick." And that's when I'm like, "Oh my god, there's so much in here." Um, and then I'm like, "They're adding more?" So they obviously, they won't be adding as much. They sort of detailed, like, I don't know if it's percentage, but if I had to guess, this is like
Yeah.
75% of the game, whereas like 81 early access was like 20% of the game. There's
Okay.
like one more weapon they want to add, then they'll add aspects to all the weapons. They want to add one more world, which is crazy because as far as I can tell, I almost got to them. They already have like the final boss because they have 4 worlds, and then
Mm-hmm.
assumingly the final boss. In Hades 1, you go through 4 worlds and then you fight um, the final boss. So I don't know where that comes in, or if that's like post. They're gonna add more to the story. Anyway, it's really fun, but in the same way where it's just the sort of game it is. I played 8 hours, almost got there, and I'm like, that was fun. But I'm still gonna say to myself because V Rising is just the sort of game where you can just sink that much time into it. Whereas like
Mm.
Hades 2, like even Hades 1, I love that game, but I have like 30 hours.
It's easy to take a break from those games, so it's like,
Yeah, because Hades
which
1,
is good. I need healthy games.
yeah, that's not a complaint. It's just like Hades 1, I have like 30 hours. I I beat it like 20 times.
Yeah.
I beat the run like 20 times. I pretty much saw all the endings. And then I was like, I like this game and I'm good. That's just not the kind of game V Rise. I mean, it's an open world survival game.
Yeah.
So different ways to grind it. I'm gonna go back and then essentially grind until I beat like the final boss. I think I've now unlocked. I didn't get to use it, but like unlocked all the weapons. It's more or less for Hades too. Like see all the content there is to see. This
Yeah.
V Rising is just like it's that sandbox of like, well, everything's here and it's fun. We're on a public PvP server, but they added difficulties and stuff. So
Are you like on a public one? Like, do people know you're on it, or
yeah, it's like an official
okay.
server, no modded changes, solo/duo PvP. And what's nice, it's unlike the official servers for this specific setting, unlike Rust, for instance. I'm sure you can find. Actually, I don't know how Rust does it, but they have a setting so that on the official PvP servers, as long as you're not on brutal difficulty or merciless, whatever, you can only raid on weekends. So there's like a window.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So in
I
this
like
case,
that.
it's like we have time to make a decent base and not get bullied immediately. To be able to like fortify, and then you also know, okay, I can only get raided within this like 48 hours. So
Yeah.
ideally, we either play then or like check up or just get to a point where we're like solid enough that like realistically a raid won't do much. Because it's a lot less stressful than when we were playing Rust. And every night I log off and I'm like,
Man, are we even gonna make it, man?
That's
Like,
yeah, if we wake up the next morning, and then that was why we kept having scheduling issues when we wanted to finish it. So it kept getting pushed until Sunday because it was like, I think we were going to try and finish like Thursday, but it didn't work. So we pushed it Friday, Saturday, and then to Sunday. And wouldn't you know it, we got rated Friday, then we got rated Saturday. I'm like, oh my God, like we just got to,
makes for
we're
some
so
great
close.
content, though.
It did, but also I was stressed. And it would not have made for great content had we unsuccessfully defended the base.
we were really lucky that because I went into Rust and I was like,
Yeah, blue is literally the only reason we still have bases.
I went into Rust thinking like, okay, like I'll play it, but like there's like it's gonna remain healthy. Like I am not going to.
And it did, I think, for you the first couple days.
But then I got really hooked again, and then it quickly went back to log in, play Rust. Even when I went to go visit my partner, it was still like whenever they went to work, log in, play Rust, and I was like, I was in it, man. So luckily, I got re-addicted.
Yeah, if you had not, I don't know if there would have been a season
It would have
finale.
been it would have been a little tougher, that's for sure.
Yeah, my favorite thing is Blue calls the horn though, boom, and like everyone just
hitting them.
I literally was like, I was in the Discord and then like I was like, hey guys, I think we're getting raided, and Elsa and Bird were like, oh really? I'll help, and I was like, yeah, I think that's happening right now. Because I was like in the middle of a CS
It was
game.
so funny because Benny was telling me when I think after they helped me one time, or after it was after Fruit and after they helped Fruit and I, well, spoilers for those of you who haven't watched on YouTube. So, but
for
after,
reference, this will be a video, and a lot of this will make sense.
After we got assistance with a knight, he was like, "Yeah, I was talking to Rob, and he was like, oh, I think we're getting raided." And you just went back to playing CS, and he was, and Benny was like, shouldn't you log in? And Rob was like, nah.
They got it.
They got it.
I was like, they were probably fine. Everyone's on there. Like, what would me being on there would just add to the chaos.
You know, I'm sweating bullets. Like, oh my God. Because the second night, I didn't see the message. And
the next day,
it was like
I had
35 minutes. And
I joined for like 10 minutes, and then that's when brother came and like showed up for like
brother.
We miss brother.
Him. Well, and that's the beauty of V-Rising, PvP server as well. And like to Rust, it's credit too, because last time V-Rising initial launch, when like you and Arios tried it with me, we were on the server. I played that server for a couple days, but you and Arios never showed up again. You guys played for the first day.
Yeah.
Joey showed up the second day, but then that was when he moved from California. Like the third day, he was just gone. He wanted to play more, but he just left. So then I was stuck on like a squad server where you can party with up to 4 people solo and PvP, and I'm just like, this ain't happening. So I got decently far, but then I was like, screw it, I'm gonna make a private server, because then I also like changed some server settings and whatever, and I was like, I just want to do it. So I did like a PvE community server, and it was fun. But also as we were going, I was like, man, wish I could just kill somebody right now, but I can't. It's not PvP. And like it's all people I know too, so I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
So I went to a PvP server this time, solo duo, and that's also why I wasn't like looking for like to say like, hey, anybody else want to try this? Because I know I'm grinding this,
Mm-hmm.
which is why like Joey's like, I'll grind with you. So I'm like, you know what you're signing up for, because you have to choose the server sizes. So in this server, the highest group you can have is a duo. So I didn't want to be like, hey, who wants to try this? Same situation. I get on,
Yeah, and I
squad
get
server. Yeah. So we'll go solo duo, PvP, and the beauty of it is the little storylines you get in a contained server like that. And the same way with Rust, we had like Anika and then Brother, and then the nerds who like initially rated us and weren't too far and rated every blah blah blah. And then the same thing with V Rising. It sucks because there are like some people who are just grinding, have been playing, know like they already have like they've done so many wipes, they're like, all right, boom, 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 boom. And they're already like 20 levels above you. And they could just destroy you on site if they wanted to. Some of them don't. Some of them are surprisingly chill. Like yesterday, I think we were coming back from a haul. We even got some human prisoners we found, really high level. These guys roll up like 20 levels above us, and Joy just goes, guys, please don't kill us. Like that, it would like this would be so devastating right now. And I'm like, that's got to paint a bigger target on our packs. But they're just like, nah, I was gonna say, do you guys have this item? You should like here. And he drops it. He's like, use this. So if you use this, it like sends them back. It's super helpful. I suggest you get. And he like drives. He's like, all right, have a good day, guys. And it's like, wow, that was so nice. And then there's these other people, rather fittingly, one of them's called Voldemort, who are around the same level, kill on sight. They will brief you. They will camp you.
Goat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's also a duo squad, I forget their names, that are high level. There's an iron mine on the map that is the best place, obviously, to get iron, which is a really necessary resource. They just like camp that. They have like monopolized it.
They know
so, like,
you're
nobody
coming.
can get iron. Yeah. And we have tried several times together, and almost every time we're left running out because they've come in, they like kill Joey. I try and get what little we have out, or we both die. And so and then in global chat, everybody's like, yo, look out for like so and so and so and so. They're dicks. Or some people are like complaining because like somebody's like, good fight. And he's like, bro, you just 1v2'd me. What do you mean good fight? And you get all these little storylines, and you get the beauty of it because you get the dicks and like the people everybody hates. And then you get the nice like surprise moments too, where you're like, wow. Like we ended up having a neighbor.
You didn't kill me.
Yeah, we ended up having a neighbor who took a better plot initially. So I was like, screw this guy. Joey ended up talking to him when I was off. Met him the next day. Super kind guy. Turns out he's chill. Now we got a cool neighbor. I've helped him craft some things. We went hunting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's those fun storylines of like why PvP server specifically is like somebody was complaining in the chat that he kept dying, or like, why you keep killing me? And to be fair, even the griefers, they have a good point. You chose a PvP server.
Yeah, like what's
anything goes. Even though there might be some like, see, for me, I get to the point where it's like, usually I don't want to kill people on sight. But then I get to a point where the bloodlust sets in. I'm like, I gotta kill something. Or
I need it.
The other thing too is like, after I get grief so many times, let's say somebody kills me 4 times, takes all my stuff. I'm like, okay, when does it come around for me?
It's like,
I
when
just
am
keep
I
giving
gonna
people free stuff. Yeah, like so, it's sort of a cyclical. But then when we find some people, I'm like, there are some people we found. I'm like, oh, Joey, let's kill these dudes. They're in their wolf form and they start doing like they spin in circles, which is like, hey, friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Now I can't kill them because I'll feel bad because they are saying like friendly. Like get into like that weird thing
So why don't
where
you do that when someone's attacking you? See
oh,
if they
because
could see.
these people are just dicks. Like they have no. It doesn't matter. We
They
can
have
literally be
no.
like,
They're
hey,
like
no, 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 or like friendly or
they're like
wave
me
off. Yeah,
in Rust kind of worlds. Like
yeah. They're like, oh,
I
that's
am
cool.
playing that game
They don't care.
unless it's like I have to RP first for the storylines. Like it sounds like in V Rising you have a little bit more of that than Rust, because in Rust people are really out for blood and
And
not really
that's
down
definitely my
for
issue with
RP.
Rust is like everyone's just trying to fuck someone up, which is why I mean there's a lot of like good servers that like find the in between. Like kind of like what Fruit said where like it's only like there's a lot of their servers in Rust where it's only weekend raiding. There's servers in Rust where like you only like raid like the last 48 hours, like there's only PvP the last 48 hours. There's Rust servers where like there's only PvP in the monuments. And stuff like that. So, while it is unfortunate because like the main servers themselves often devolve into Sag, everyone just PvP fest.
I mean, even us towards the end, we had to get to the point where like we can't lose this stuff anymore.
Yeah,
And 9 times out of 10, people just shoot on sight. So we had to like, as we got further in the game, we had to RP less
yeah.
Yeah.
because it was just like out of necessity.
Rust definitely, it definitely. When I came back, I was like, wow, like this is not the Rust I remember. Where like those RP modes just don't happen on normal servers as like frequently. We got really lucky, to be honest, because I don't ever
really lucky.
like.
But like
But yeah,
I was
it's just different.
I was talking to my mom kind of about it because she is dating someone who has like a younger daughter, and I think she's about like 12 or 13. No, maybe younger. Whenever she asked me, but she was basically like, "Hey, like when you were playing video games when you were a kid, like did we let you talk on the mic?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I was on the mic like all the time." And she goes, "I can't believe I did that." And I was like, "Well, back then it was a little different. I think back then a lot of
Yeah.
people wanted to connect and like wanted to like
True.
make friends and be
I
cool."
literally met friends in Halo
Yeah,
parties.
like I think because it was so like new, it wasn't like let me just spew a bunch of slurs as fast as I can type of thing. And it was
It
rather
eventually
than
got
like
there with our generation.
yeah, exactly. Like as time went on and like people like found out what this was, it was like back then it was like more for like connection and all that kind of stuff, which is why I don't think you see open mic anymore. Like that is
Well,
like totally like not a thing.
I was gonna say
And
that I think part of that
what?
too is because nowadays people have Discord, or like
Yeah.
phone calls or whatever.
Yeah.
That also games don't force that quite upon you. Whereas like back, even we technically had Xbox Party Chat, but even wasn't quite like most games, multiplayer games at the time were like everybody just had a mic.
Yeah.
Whereas now I go into a
Yeah,
game,
that's true.
there might be one mic on by accident. That's it. It's also different where, like, the people now choosing to opt in the chat most of the time are there to, like, troll specifically or something. Like, you don't
To
just
be
find the
bad.
random. Yeah. Um,
Yes. And that's
Although we
what like I
definitely
was
did
saying about
have those
V
slurs
Rising
and
is
all that
like you
stuff.
have that like but that's like the last kind of haven for that kind of communication and that kind of connection in those kind of games. Like you don't just see that in Fortnite anymore. Like you're not just going to queue a game of Fortnite and your random has their mic on and you're able to actually sure like maybe once in a blue moon, but 99% of the time I feel like they're just not going to have their mic on or something. Like they're just there to play a game.
And
Like
I'm a symptom of the problem too. Most of the time I'm playing it, like, we're in chat, we're in Discord, so, like, we don't
yeah.
granted, if I find somebody cool, especially if I'm recording, I usually try
Yeah.
and hop in to, like, interact and
Yeah.
but, like, I can't blame people because most of the time, if I'm chilling by myself, I'm like I used to. I would play Halo and get on just to, like, find people to meet in lobbies and be like, "Hey," or, like, trash talk, "Hey, 1v1 me," and but now I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm vibing."
It's just like I think that's like the last like haven for that kind of communication, that kind of fun is like the Rust type of games, the V Rising games where, you know, that kind of connection is also part of the game,
It's
which is
just
really cool.
it's just easier to find like-minded people through different avenues nowadays. So like directly finding people to chill with through the game itself is just doesn't happen as often.
And the problem, like you were asking with the Verizon games, the people who just grief anybody, that's the problem.
This episode of the GG Over Easy podcast is sponsored by our GG Over Easy legends, Green Pete, One Lax, Fields, Halcyonics, and Hoth. If you guys want to go extra and beyond the support of just watching the podcast, please think about subscribing to our Patreon. It helps out a ton. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's the whole new movement towards better habits led by today's sponsor, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume's cores are closer to verbal teas. Fume has a lot of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. Orange vanilla is my absolute favorite. It literally tastes like I'm drinking like a creamsicle. No vapor, so you can use it anywhere. There's no nicotine, non-toxic flavors, no batteries, and it looks awesome. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, and Fume is backed by doctors in the United States. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be its next success story. For a limited time, use our code GG to get free gift with your journey pack. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use code GG. Sky's out, which means thighs are out. Summer is right around the corner, and our friends at Chubby's are bringing the good thibrations. Chubby's makes clothes that make every moment feel like a vacation. They say fashion is an expression of one character, so why not let the world know that you're down for a good time? They sent me the nicest polo and these shorts that are so comfortable. They're a little high-rising, but they look fantastic. So my thighs are completely out this summer, thanks to Chubby's. The elastic waistband is so nice. It's not suffocating me. Chubby's offers a variety of high-quality everyday men's apparel. For the most comfortable shorts you'll wear all summer to swim trunks, pants, polos, and even button-down shirts that'll have grandma praising how clean you are. Embrace the spirit of an endless summer with Chubby's, the ultimate destination for bold, vibrant, and outrageous comfortable clothing. For a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our exclusive code when you use code GG at chubbyshorts.com. Whether you're getting dressed for a workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubby's has you covered. For a limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners 20% off your order with the code GG at chubbyshorts.com. That's code GG at chubbyshorts.com. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubby's.
Somebody shows like friendly, I feel really bad when I kill somebody like that. Like, I think it weighs and sits on me more than them dying. Like, to them, I just feel bad.
Funny.
Dude,
So whenever somebody
same.
does that, I'm like, just going to kill him. Like, it is still sitting in the mind. This guy didn't even talk or anything, but we found this guy in the iron mine. He was killing the boss. Because, like, in that game, there's, like, these certain just bosses, but you drink their blood to get powers and, like, progress and unlock things. He was fighting this boss. And I'm like, I want to kill him. But we're going to let him get the boss. We help him get the boss. He gets the blood, so he gets all the unlocks. Then we killed him. He had, like, all the copper from that mine. He technically didn't even show friendly or anything. But I'm still thinking about that guy I killed.
You're
still
fucked
feel
up.
bad.
You're a dickhead. See, well, I'm the same way in Rust. In Rust, I've started playing on like solo, duo, trio servers. Because playing against like 8-mans is literally impossible. Like, there's no way to do it as a solo. And so I'm playing on like solo, duo, trio, which even then on those like servers, it's still insanely impossible to solo. But I killed this one dude who was taking Bradley, and straight up, the dude did all the work for me. I saw Bradley exploded because I pretty much always build near a launch site, and killed the dude when he was looting Bradley. And in tech chat, he was like, "Bro, can you leave my kit?" And I felt so bad.
I would leave the kit. I'd be like,
bro felt so, he was like, "Hey, bro,
I'd maybe take like half of his ammo.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh no!
I felt so bad because I was merciless. I fucked that dude up, and then immediately he was like, "Bro, can you leave my kit?" And I was like, "Fuck
guys,
it, come back and I'll
But
guard
where's
it."
that mercy for us?
I was
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say what's
"Come
even
back."
worse because I'd probably be like, where you live, I'll
I was
deliver
like,
to
I was
you.
like, "Come back, I'll guard it for you." So I ended up guarding it for him. Like, it's really late, so there's only like 100 people on the server anyway, and or less than that. There's probably only like 70 people on the server. And so I guard his stuff. I come back, and he was just like, "Yeah, I just logged on and I tried, and I was like, oh damn, no." And I was like,
I'd be crying.
and I felt so bad. I was like, is there anything you're missing, man? He was like, no, it's okay. And he was just like, and then I felt so bad because
I get you, Blue. Okay,
I felt so bad because he was like, yeah, I'm just trying to get some stuff back. I just got raided the other night. I'm like, you know what, dude? Fine, we'll split the Bradley loot. I ended up giving him all the Bradley guns. I didn't even split it with him. I felt so bad. I ended up giving him more from Bradley. I ended up basically coming to kill the dude just to give him all the Bradley loot anyway. And I was like, why did I do that, man? Like, I
think about how hilarious that would have been, though, to drop him all the Bradley guns, and as he's running away, you shoot him and kill him.
No, I would have felt even
worse.
Look
how funny that is. Like, that's hilarious.
I felt so bad. I was like, all right, just take the loot, man. Just take it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I want to kill people, but then, like, and, like, if someone doesn't say anything, it's like, whatever. Like, I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm just gonna be like, yo, GG's. But
that's a lot easier when you kill them and they just don't say anything.
But
I don't have a guilty conscience.
But if they say something, I'm like, I'll leave your stuff, man. Don't worry about it. Here you go. You know what? Take my gun. See, I'll leave it on your body. Problem,
like, my thing is like what Christian said. Like, you can play on a non-PvP server. Like, if you didn't want this to happen and you didn't want like the consequences of your actions, basically, then you shouldn't have been on PvP.
And don't get me wrong,
I'm gonna be the reason you fucking feel that.
And don't get me wrong, like, I'm like, I know I'm gonna be playing, I mean, I'll probably, like, during, you know, like, wipes where I just don't really want to deal with it. Yeah, I'll play on, like, monument PvP only servers, like, where there's no rating or anything. Like, I know I'm gonna do that eventually. And, like, as time goes on, I'm probably gonna get bored of the Rust, like, PvP, like, you're always in danger vibe, but you know, for the time being, I'm gonna vibe with it and have fun, and I'm gonna shoot people. I'm gonna be like nice and steal their shit and take all their resources. The capitalists hidden deep under me. But then, you know, other wipes would be like, you know what? I'm just a nice, friendly little farmer, just trying to get some cool loot, some cool guns. But I don't know, man. It's just it's so hard. My moral compass always kicks in, no matter what. Like in the vanilla servers, it was for a while. It was like, on site, baby. That's because I was new and I was jaded. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm more experienced and I can, you know, like, and I realize there's no skill to Rust. Everything about Rust is waiting for the ambush. Like, there's no skill in the gunplay. There's no skill in, like, how good you are in the combat. How you win in Rust is all about the ambush.
Grub.
And I realize that. And now I feel bad because I ambush people and I, like, dub. And they're just like... Man, I just worked 16 hours. I just want to log in for a little Rust, man. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Here's my AK. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like,
see, like, I live for those moments and make their life even worse. Like,
you're wild. Well, see,
because guess what? They would do that to me.
Well, like, see, that's why this is my approach. Well, one, on PvP servers, when I die, I'm not like, this is stupid. I get it. I accept it.
Yeah.
I did queue for PvP. So this can happen, but that's why I said I like it. You can get all the variations, because then when you come across somebody who, like, you know, your life is just in their hands and all they have to do is this. All they have to do is close it, but they don't. They're benevolent. You're like, wow, that was very nice. And then sometimes you pay that forward and you find somebody. The way I think about it is like when somebody does like the spin or whatever, and it's like, hey, friendly. Then I feel bad about killing them. Because I'm like, would I want someone to do that to me?
Exactly.
And I know that's not always how it works.
It's like Starbucks.
That's not how the world works.
Like, you buy the coffee for the person behind you.
Right.
You know,
and then
like...
somebody's just like, nah, I'll take that.
But actually, free coffee.
It is that sort of like, treat someone how you want to be treated. So like when someone does that, that's why like when I want to kill someone, then they're like friendly, and I'm like, dang it, I can't, because like I think about that. Okay, when I did this and that happened, I didn't like that. So I don't want to do that to somebody. And like I said, I also get to a point where if it's been too long, I might just find somebody and just like, I'm sorry, man. I need a W right now. But otherwise, that's like how I approach it, because I have been in every possible scenario. And so I get how it feels when all that stuff goes bad. Or like my neighbor's like, yo, you got this crafting thing? And rather than being like, dude, get your own, or like, hey, give me a tax, I'd be like, yeah, just drop it off a craft for you. I don't care, man. Because somebody did that to me. I'd be like, cool, man. Appreciate that. So that's how That's how I
Treat those how you
appreciate it.
want to be treated. The golden rule, some would say.
I will say,
and go ahead.
I will say, I was dunking on Joey hard when we were playing Rust because he is dog shit at Rust. We all were dog shit at Rust, but he was extra dog shit. He's so bad. He's
Man, fuck you, Blue.
Yeah, he's so stupid. He's so bad. He's so dumb. He's the worst. But
Why do I even listen to this podcast?
what's up,
Like,
stupid?
genuinely.
So, anyways, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted,
Oh
I
my
did eventually learn to, like, as time went on, I learned to be like, you know what? Joey had the right idea. You know,
Let me
Joey
help him.
was right. Joey was like, he showed kindness. He was like always like, he was always trying to be like the hope in the ray of hope in the cold, dead world. And while I was like, yeah, you're stupid for doing that, later down the line, I realized, you know what? It's the Joeys in these video games that keep these video games, the good spirit of them alive. So you know what, Joey? You were right the whole time.
Okay, I guess that's why I listen to this podcast.
I had to.
Never mind.
I was
Carry on,
bringing it
carry on.
around to the station. You got to let me get there.
Let him land. Let him land.
You
let
gotta
him
let
land.
me.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta
Thank
go
you.
on this. I gotta go on the journey before I
And then,
leave the
and
next
then you have
comment.
people like me who, you know, Christian has somebody running in circle, running friendly, and then I do that, and then I die, and so I know how that feels, and you know, it's a good lesson to learn. So I'm trying to teach them the same lesson that I learned, and to see if they're really cut out for this. Like, oh, you just did this for 6 hours, and now I take all your stuff. Well, let's see if you got that dog in you. You got another 6 hours in you, because I sure did.
I'm also
So-
really paranoid. To where like if I kill someone and like grief them or something and they get upset, I think
You
they'll
just
like
killed
be
John
like,
Wick.
they'll be like, oh my god, it's Mr. Fruit. Okay, I'm gonna find where he lives. Okay, as soon as I can rate this, I'm gonna make this guy a living hell. And usually that doesn't happen, but that every time I kill someone, that goes through my head. I'm like, what if? But like, what
Yeah,
if?
but like that's kind of the excitingness.
Yeah, which is why like, when you piss people off, when we're like in our base in Rush, I'm like, Rob, we don't want them to know where we live. Or like,
Don't bring
I
them
was with
back,
Joey
bro.
Duo.
Poke.
Joey and I killed some people, and I'm like, Joey, don't run back to the base. Like, loop around. Like, we don't want them to just know, like, oh, wait, they're right there. That's their base. So I tend to avoid things like that. But yeah, that was the nice thing about Joey. I think the problem is, and I'll bring it around, probably Joey, is he just doesn't have
bringing her. Look, give him. Hey, let him cook
Let him
before
land,
you.
let him land.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let him
let-
cook
Let
first.
me land. You know how like Blue talked about, like, you know, he came back and he was like a bit of a noob, but now he's at the point where he gets it and he's in a better spot and helps people out or like is friendly. You just don't you don't quite have that skill. Because like a lot of people are just confident. They're like, yeah, whatever, man, take this or do this because I'm confident that I can turn it back around. You know what I'm saying? And
Wait
that was
for
the
it to come
problem.
to the station.
And that was the problem in Rush.
wait.
I'd be like, later on, I'm like, Joe, you got to stop RPing. You have our AK. And like, we have 2 of those.
Yeah, you could have
Like,
been a little
It's
more.
a funny bit.
There could have been a little
Like-
more tact to your RP.
Mr. Fruit
And your
basically just
kindness.
said, like, you have the heart, you just don't have the talent.
Yeah, that's kind of what
He
I got
said-
from that
he
too,
said-
Rob. I was waiting.
you're not
I was waiting
spec'ing the
to come
heart.
around.
You're not spec'd into skill.
You-
You're not
you
spec'd
love-
into brain. I mean, you're not spec'd into heart. Or you are. You're spec'd into everything, but heart is the only thing like you're actually spec'd into. Like,
So
you're
funny.
trying. You know, you're almost getting there, but like you do have that 100 in heart, and that takes you far. Yeah, you only have like a 5 in intelligence and maybe like a 4 in wisdom out of 100, but like you still try, and that's what makes you
got some luck.
special.
The point is,
Thanks, guys. Wow.
the point is,
It wasn't me saying anything.
sometimes it turns around. 2, it puts us in some great situations. Or like that Moist neighbor when you ended up talking to him. I would have hated that guy because I was like, man, he took the good plot. And you're like, yo, found him, and he's friendly. So like, I think I can be like sometimes see the good in people or like benevolent or kind of, but then you show me, oh, I'm nowhere near that. Like you're like the golden standard, and then you lose all of our loot.
Yeah,
But-
no, that does happen often.
But it's good to have that because like if you're here, I'm right here. We got Rob. You guys balance each other out. You guys got the opposite.
Yeah, Rob is the
spectrum.
chaotic. Rob is just straight up chaotic evil.
You need me. You need people like me to point and be like, that's the bad guy. All right.
Whereas
You guys
Joey
want him
is,
here.
whereas Joey's just lawful good. Like Joey's just at every single moment, Joey's gonna be like, no, guys, like you gotta find the good in the world.
That is my favorite part though in V Rising. It's just when it's the best time to PvP because Joey goes, Mr. Fruit, someone's killing me. I'm like, oh, sick.
Yep.
Then I just go kill him and I have no qualms. Yeah, there's nothing to worry about. I'm like, coming for
And they
my
always hit
boy.
me first. They know for some
I
reason.
don't know what.
they know this
They
guy's
sniff it
only
out.
expecting a 5% of skill, so let's tackle.
I don't know
him.
what animated movie that is, but with the police officer, that's like
It's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
yeah. Never seen that, but I know I'm
You've
familiar
never
with
seen
the
Cloudy
name.
with a Chance of Meatballs?
No, I was like
Wow.
a teenager when that came out. I wasn't a
Yeah, but
child.
I mean, it's a good
I've seen
movie.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. How do you?
I mean, I've read the
I've
book,
seen
and
Cloudy.
don't get me wrong, it's a great novel. Like that's one of my favorite novels I've probably have ever
Okay.
read.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
All right, blazing
Um,
it, but whatever. Like,
Yeah, no, that's the easiest time. And that's when I don't care what they say. I can feel guilt free is if they shoot first, essentially.
100%.
Whenever somebody starts it, then I'm like, sick.
yeah,
You can
yep.
beg all you want. You
Yep.
started this. I don't care.
But if
kill
I
you,
start it
then I'm
and I finish it, I feel so bad.
never feels good. But it all comes together. And that's what makes like a PvP server great. And why like when I did the PvE server, I just like the pure safety I had at all times, knowing nothing was gonna happen to me, got boring. I was like, even though I don't want to die, I like the idea like there's some sense of danger or like stakes. Even though whenever I die, I'm like, I'm devastated. But it's those extremes that keep me going. And then sometimes we kill somebody, or Joey will kill somebody, and be like, oh my God, look at what they had. Sometimes we're up. It all balances out. Anyway, point is, love and V Rising. What were the other? Oh, I want to talk about real quick. We can probably do Q&A soon because I don't think we did it last
Yeah.
week.
Oh, we
Yeah.
actually really need to, yeah.
I gotta pee real quick, but we probably could touch on real quick the Helldivers thing if you want.
Yeah. Helldivers went back, or I guess not Helldivers, I guess Sony
Yeah.
went back on requiring people to attach their PSNs in order to play. But I did read something today. Apparently, like Ghost of Tsushima is being pulled from countries that aren't able to connect their PSNs to it, which is kind of shitty. But congratulations, Helldivers. You bullied a billion-dollar company into your ways. Good
Major
job.
order completed. And you know what this shows, ladies and gentlemen? Bullying corporations work. So let's do that to Microsoft next for them laying off a perfectly good studio and then later saying, we need studios like this studio, the one we just blew up.
Well, did you see like the president of Xbox like talking about like, oh, like this is why basically like the great CEO, oh, I answered your question without saying anything. I just
Yep.
said a bunch of
Yeah,
words.
No, I
And
saw
they
it.
like they cut the camera and it's showing like Xbox subscriptions the past like 10 years and it's like low, 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 low. And then it's like high and it's still high and then like one little dip and it's like you guys are cutting people off of like one like little like unsustainable dip after COVID. Like I just hate. No, I never played Hi-Fi Rush. Like I'm not going to pretend like I know it's a good game, but I know
But
a
it
lot
was,
of people.
I mean, well, it's
Was
crazy.
it not up to, like, game of the year or
It was
whatever?
very successful. It was a very successful game for the budget that they put into it. And the reality is, I think I read somewhere is that the studio wanted new hires. And that was one of the biggest reasons why they ended up shuttering the studio is because they wanted a proper budget for the next game they were working on. And Microsoft was like, it's going to cost too much. Anyways, we're going to need to close the studio for more growth. And it's like, motherfucker, how do you think you grow? By making games. And see, everyone wants growth, but no one wants to look into the core reason why the growth happened in the first place. So it's just classic CEO stuff where everyone wants to win at capitalism without realizing, like, hey, you don't just, like, you got to remember that there's people want to give you things for something in return. You don't just take from people infinitely because like they want to give their wallet to you for free, you know what I mean? So it's like Which I mean, Game Pass is a great way for them to, slowly get money, but it's also like, hey, you guys have to make other games eventually. Not for free, you don't just get free money from everyone. They don't just hand you their wallet and you're like, take it. Here you go.
No.
Here's infinite
We're
growth.
talking about Microsoft laying off the Hi-Fi Rush studio. Yeah.
Infinite
Well, it was
growth.
also,
No games, only growth.
wasn't that? It was also Arcane Austin, which I believe was Redfall.
I think a lot of people saw that coming, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think some others, but also makes me think I just saw, I think this morning maybe, article about Warner Brothers or whoever coming out about Rocksteady profits and like the $200 million loss with Suicide Squad.
God.
Yeah, which is pretty brutal.
Oh yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of like different sources coming in saying that, like, one of them was trying to say that Rocksteady were the ones that actually wanted to make it live service, not Warner Brothers. But then a lot of people also talked about how, like, with, I think, like, EA and their games, they would tell their developers, like, essentially implying, they're not saying, like, hey, put microtransactions, but, like, if you want to get your game approved, put microtransactions. Like, not saying it, but implying it, the sense where
Yeah.
it's like, you understand, like, okay, if we want this, so it might have been the same situation too, where they're like,
The most hands-off possible way of basically telling
yeah,
someone,
that's a cool single player game. Sure, it'd be a shame if we didn't publish it because it wasn't gained as a live service. But
I mean,
so it could have been one of those. Who really knows though? Either way, it was a fumble. Whoever the decision came from.
one of the biggest fumbles of recent history. It's
And
heartbreaking, man.
well, what's sad too is with a loss like that, and you're seeing all these some of these studios who are only like marginally profitable. Now you're losing 200 million. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be surprising in the coming weeks to hear an announcement that like Rocksteady's been shuttered or something, which would be so sad. But it's a tough time to be in the game industry, and I think the AAA industry also has to realize that, like, and I think we've talked about, like, current budgets are not sustainable. If somebody was talking about, because I think it was in the same article where, like, back in the day, like 2008 or whatever, they're like, this AAA game needs to sell like 900,000 copies to break even. And people were like, that's not sustainable. What are you doing? Now it's like, this needs to sell 7 million on one console. It's not even multi-platform to break even. Where it's just like, you gotta, and specifically I'm talking about Spider-Man. But like these budgets, they're just, it reminds me when we talked about YouTube and like all these creators that are popping up, and maybe they're not all like the next XQCs, but you get these middle that, and a way I think about it too is like, for every, I don't know, I'm making up a number, but like, let's say for every 10 new creators, there's only one new watcher added to the pool.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's still, you have roughly the same amount of people maybe watching like gaming content, let's say, a percentage wise. So 10 years ago when I started, if, the ratio was one creator to 100 viewers, there's only so many people for the viewers to watch, so people propped up. Now, if there's, 20 creators to every, or I'm sorry, like 70 creators to every 100 or whatever, like where the ratio keeps getting smaller and smaller, then there's more people for them to watch, so it's going to spread further, but the audience isn't really necessarily getting that much bigger. So they got to go somewhere. And it's like all the streaming platforms are realizing too, like everybody only has so much time and eyeballs have to go somewhere, so they can't be everywhere. So that's also part of it. Same thing when we talk about games as a live service. If every game is a live service and everyone wants their game to be played all the time, well, then where are all the gamers going to go? Because they can't. So
There's not infinite people with infinite live service time, so it's like,
it'll be interesting to see how they try to swap this up. If they do, I mean, I feel like they have to do, because again, we see the AA studios, the indie studios right now, who I mean, the return on profits, for instance, on like Manor Lords right now is insane. Practically a sole developer, and within the first 24 hours sold like 1 million copies. Yeah, where like the return on his investment is insane. Now, obviously, that's an edge case like Stardew Valley and stuff like that's not. You don't look at that and be like, that's going to be me.
Minecraft,
the-
like Notch.
But the example of like if you have an idea and you focus on it and you hone that idea, you don't try to do everything. You just focus that and make
You
a
get
good game for
Helldivers.
that. Yeah, that's a great
Just do
example.
that
And
one
Power
thing
World.
really well. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And then the budgets aren't insane. And the likelihood for it to break even is like, that's the problem with every AAA game. They want the next huge hit or blockbuster because
Just a big IP. Like,
yeah, because they put that much money into it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, well, we put this much into it, so it needs to be this good.
And it's
And then
never about how can we make a good game that's profitable. It's always how do we make the next game that's going to make profit. Like forget the whole reason why people love games in the first place, which is pretty common for most CEOs to lose the forest for the trees. But hey,
amen.
we're gonna switch on over to Q&A here.
Oh, but quickly,
Go ahead.
your shirt reminds me.
Oh, yeah.
oh,
By the time this come out, the season finale for Rob and I's season, win or loss, for Nuzlocke is live. And the fact that we even got to the point where we can say that 8 months later or whatever. Check that out if you haven't
a good
already.
thing or a bad thing.
If you're watching or listening to this podcast, the shirts probably aren't available anymore. But just want to say, check that if you haven't. And Rob, one way or the other, at least with the past 12 seasons, been an honor.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
And we'll have to see what happens. But it's been a journey, and I feel bad because one day, I think next, I have to figure it out because it's going to be hard to schedule. But Datto wanted to do, I believe, a Solak as well. And sort of in the same vein as Rob of like, I think for him, he's literally like, I played red or like silver, and that's it.
So he's a pokey noob, not like me. I'm not a pokey noob anymore.
Although, I think it goes without saying, I think he might be a quick learner. He'll probably learn type matchups better than I do once I show him a type chart. He'll be like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, see, I see a type chart and I go, that's too confusing. See, he'll dissect that. Like
I still can't remember, and he'll just be like, oh yeah, okay, I got it. I feel like that's how it's gonna go.
he's gonna be like, Mr. Fruit, you're
do you know what game you would do?
Yeah, he's like, why are you sending in? I'm like, why are you?
Because you almost kind of want that thing with me where it was like, I don't know what that Pokemon is. Like,
yeah. Well, and I
so like
seeing the development on your side of if you look at the very beginning versus like a fight you'll see this last episode, like the difference where you've come, and also knowing too when you need to ask a question or be like, okay, hold up, because before you might just be like press something and go like I think I did a bad thing, whereas now you can recognize before like, wait, is this going to be a problem?
Is Bonsly a rock type?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably the next series, but the problem is we won't be able to do that until after my surgery, which
and definitely after Final Shape, like chills.
Yeah. So probably won't be able to do that until September,
December?
probably. Well, I'll recover around September, and then granted, I'll need to get back into things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That might be the next one. I think Joey's listening. I gotta eventually get back, and Joey and I gotta see one through now. Now that I gave Rob 12 attempts, feel bad. Joe, it was just like, well, we lost Joey. Sorry. Well, I just before this, it was always one and done.
Man, I have to purposely fail our next one because I'm still waiting for my turn again because I really want to do a Soul Link again, but or something, and then like everyone's over here fucking up, and it's like, damn, y'all, like if you want fruit that bad, like shit, you don't
you could have gotten 12 seasons.
You don't have to fuck up so bad, like damn, like
I went kind of crazy.
Oh, you thought I killed that accidentally?
We
I'm up to no good.
We annoying. We insufferable.
We're irritating. All All right, Q&A.
Yeah.
Fluffy, with a question says, with the Riot MMO being delayed indefinitely, any chance Fruit and or Rob will try the critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy XIV
Please
with new
come
expanded
back.
free trial, letting you play through entirety of Stormblood to level 70 for
Yes.
free?
I'm hard as
Yeah,
fuck.
if I hit 3,000 subs on Twitch, yeah, for sure, I'll be there.
Oh fuck.
I have never given my word, and I probably never will.
Dude.
My word is if we ever hit the highest sub count that I've ever had on Twitch, which I know is never
Come
gonna
on,
happen.
it's so good. Here's the Anthony graphics update. Look,
I love that for you.
Fluffy, my boy. I really respect and honor. Like, I'm honored that you would ask that question on the GG Over Easy podcast. Like, that means the world to me, big guy. Mr. Fruit doesn't like tab targeting. Beta. And Rob doesn't have the time and effort to put into being, like, to learn that game. I don't think that's
do if
ever...
I have 3,000 subs.
I don't think...
I'll tell you that.
Well, if Rob gets 3,000 subs, then
I'll
yes.
read all the dialogue. I'll do voices. I'll make it a thing. I swear to God.
While I would love for them to play the critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy XIV, which is one of the best games, not just on the market, but also one of the greatest games of all time, I would be happy, but I just don't see it happening, especially for Fruit. Rob can be paid off, and so I'm just saying,
everyone's got a price.
Rob and I at the end of this episode said if we only have one day left, but if the shirts hit 10,000 sales,
yep,
we'll Nuzlocke every Pokemon game.
And
I'll do every Pokemon.
How close are you to that?
9,700 to go.
Let's fucking go.
We're right.
Kiefer says, with all your different experiences with TCGs like Pokemon Hearthstone, have any of you thought about playing Magic the Gathering, specifically Commander? It's typically 4 people, 100 card decks with one of each card. It's supposed to be more of a social TCG compared to others, and there are ways to try it online for free. My favorite part is that pretty much all cards are legal, so you don't need to update every new set.
That's interesting.
My issue with other TCGs is they're just absurdly fucking expensive. Yu-Gi-Oh! Absurdly fucking expensive. Magic, ridiculously expensive. Whereas, like, with Pokemon, because it's mostly a collector's game, like, the gameplay cards are so cheap. So, like, I could build a meta Pokemon deck for, like, $100. But, like, if I wanted to build, like, a genuinely viable, good deck in, like, Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! It's, like... 4 or 5 times that, right? And I just don't have that much money to be putting into a TCG that, like, I don't even know if I love. I don't know. It's just such a big investment.
I would be more willing if I had people around me to actually play in person.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to. My days of going to like random locals probably passed. I mean, I played Magic the Gathering Arena years ago.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Arena.
That was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
But yeah, like the only thing that really sounds interesting is like the Commander social part, just playing with your friends and not taking it too seriously, probably.
It does sound fun, but I don't know, man. I just don't have the money for that.
MC534 says, what's y'all's favorite time of day?
I'm a night fiend. Big night owl.
I love like 5 o'clock. Like, I don't know. Sydney's off of work. I'm more than likely done streaming if I'm like trying to be live around like noon. I just finally get to like kind of like, I don't know, veg out in sort of the phrase.
It's probably like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I've been up for a while, and especially if you've already gotten something productive done, you already feel like you've done stuff. And then the whole day's ahead of you. Sun's out.
Yeah, we got some
I'm a
old ass fucking dudes over here. Shit, like.
Well,
what's yours, Blue?
I'm very much a morning person.
I'm a night owl. It's
okay,
always nighttime.
So you like midnight? Is like your favorite time?
I would say like anywhere from 7 p.m. to midnight is peak for me.
Okay.
Perfect time.
See, that's when my inner demons come out.
That's when my depression.
Why do you think I go to bed early? Okay,
that's when the video essays come out for me, and I'm watching a video essay on YouTube about the iCarly tier lists, and it's for some reason 4.5 hours long dissecting iCarly.
Based.
Lumberlord says it's always more popular to be negative than positive. Do you guys like to lean into the negativity or fight back with positivity? I think when I was younger, I was a lot more negative and leaned more into negative. I mean, you ask Sydney, she'll probably say I'm the most negative person in the world. But I try to lean more into positivity, but I would say more than often than not, I do lean into negativity. I'm a hater.
But you try sometimes, and that's
what I
you
mean.
know,
Like I try, but like
chip
more often
away
than
at
not,
it. Maybe we'll,
yeah.
you know.
I don't think negativity always gets more than positivity, but it is pretty
does in the
obvious.
news, but
Like at the very like right at the very start, for sure. Yeah, it definitely. It's the more like immediate, get a quick response type of thing for sure. But I try my best to lean positive because as I get older, I realize how invaluable like hope is in general. So it's like, and like seeing the good in people. So as I get older, I definitely try lean more and more into positivity. But I will say, if someone tries me, it's on site. You're the worst person in the world. Eat my ass. Go fuck yourself. I wish your parents wore a condom type beat. Like, it is unfortunate. I'm so sorry that you exist. That makes the world a worse place. So, it really all depends. I try to lean positive though. Try my best.
I definitely lean positive. You can ask my wife sometimes, probably to my detriment. Because I also I'm not really a hater. In fact, I have a hard time hating. And again, that's my wife. Bothers her. But at the same time, it can be easy to also not. I think for me, more so like it's hard to look at like the state of the world sometimes and be like, I see the positive here. Because lately, past like 10 years or like having geopolitical and the world and all the sort of things, it can be really easy to be like, well, doesn't seem great. Doesn't seem like we're trending up. If I try, that stuff I struggle with. But with people, I think I have an easier time trying to see the positive. But I also know a lot of people I know as well who are way better at it as well. So I also know that like I could certainly do better.
It takes a
But
lot out of you being positive. I will say, like people that are very overly positive, shouts out to you. Like that takes a lot of
we'll see,
energy.
for me, I also don't hate because that takes a lot for me to put my
Yeah.
energy towards being upset, which is usually why I'll just be like, eh.
Being a hater is like the energy it takes for me to be a hater. I have less and less energy for it as time goes on.
Pop Kurt says, when listening to music, do you often find yourself listening to video game soundtracks, anime soundtracks, or typical music?
It depends on how I'm feeling.
Listening to music when doing what? And
Just listening to music in general. Like,
oh, weird. I was thinking about this. I heard, yeah, I think it was Joey. I heard him mention like his Spotify playlist, and I thought about it, and I was like, "You guys have Spotify playlists?"
I do, yeah.
What
Well,
do you
I
have?
don't have like playlists. Like, I know people will like, oh, I like this rock song. Let me add it to my rock playlist that I have. I just click the heart, and it's like your liked songs.
Okay. See,
So,
You're a normie. I like that.
yeah.
okay, so you have specific playlists, Blue.
I have specific playlists for everything I do. Well, not for everything I do, but I have specific playlists, especially for genres. I'm a very genre heavy dude. I don't really like random, like a random mishmash of things. I'm always like, there's a certain genre like I'm feeling, right? Like it could be video game OSTs, more orchestral shit. It could be more like disco type shit. Some hip hop playlists. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. So I have I have a lot of genre playlists.
See, those both sort of blow my mind because I don't have any kind of a playlist.
Oh,
And I was thinking, the problem with me, if I listen to music, it's pretty much only if I'm lifting weights because I want to listen to music sometimes. Well, one, I just forget, but two, I cannot multitask or like I get sensory overloaded really easily. So if I'm doing a task and there's something else, even just music going on,
Mhm.
unless it's like lo-fi beats or like something really like super in the background, uh, I get overwhelmed and distracted, and one of them has to go.
I
So
can't like if
I
I'm like
can't really
editing, I
listen to
can't do
music.
that.
Yeah, same.
Like if I'm like doing a task, like say if I was like studying and stuff like that, I could really never ever study with music because like you, I would just get distracted.
Yep.
But that was more so because I was like bored by what I was doing, and not more so because I was like more into the music. I actually listen to like more like podcasts or like other things. If it's like I don't really just like, oh, I'm just kind of chilling and hanging out. Let me listen to like music. Like I'm more so I'm like, oh, let me watch like a YouTube video. So like, or like let me have the Pat McAfee show on in the background, or some sort of podcast or some sort of sports thing that I like in the background. Because more often than not, the only time I really like listen to like music is when I'm driving in my car or in the background while I'm streaming. Like,
Uh,
See, I can't even do it when I'm playing games or anything.
it really depends. Like if I'm playing like a really like stressful game, I usually won't listen to music. If I'm playing like a really chill game, like a game that doesn't require, like a game that like will take all my focus in a non-stressful way, like FF, then I'll just have music in the background because I'm too locked in to even really notice or like focus too hard on the music. Whereas like there's other times as well where like I'll just there's sometimes I'll just be listening to music for hours because like I'm in that type of mood, and like that's what I'm doing. Like I'm just browsing the internet or some shit, or just closing my eyes and listening to music because I'm vibing. You know what I mean? So two different spectrums, I guess. But yeah, I definitely.
I mean, I wish I. That's the weird thing too. Is like I like music, but I just forget about it. Or, like,
I
so
think
you don't have like a Spotify? Like, how do you listen to music when you do want to listen to music? Like,
well, it's only at the gym, and then I look up Dragon Ball Z remix, and then it just autoplays.
it's. I think a lot of people don't like. I think a lot of people are wired to like not be able to hyper fixate on music, or that like it's not pleasant enough to be in the background. You know what I mean? I think that's a pretty common thing people deal with. Whereas like I'm the opposite. Like I can hyperfixate hard on music because like I'm enjoying it so much, and I could also like have it in the back where it's like it's pleasant enough to where like I enjoy it, but it's not taking away from what I'm doing. Like it's like a it's a boost to what I'm doing. So everyone's different. Some people just don't really have. Some people just aren't wired to naturally like have that music goblin in them that is serotonin go happy when they hear music. You know what I mean? So
I think the other thing too is I would think I would listen to more music if I commuted, but I'm never in my car. That's really the only other time I listen to music. But I don't commute. And then if it's to the gym, it's like a 5-minute drive, and I don't have a playlist, so I'm not like looking. So if I made a playlist, maybe it would make life easier. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I enjoy music, and I'll listen to music, and I'll find a new song I like. I'm like, wow, I really like this, and I should find more music, and then I just forget. Weird.
everyone's different.
well, that'll do it for the GG Over Easy podcast. Hopefully, you guys listen to this podcast over your favorite music playlists. Thank you guys all for chilling and hanging out today. We'll be back next week for some more gaming and talking and stuff.
Gaming glizzies and goblins.
That's it.
See you, Leon.